was going to say evening, that was wrong, morning. Welcome. Happy Thursday morning. I think it's going to brighten up, so enjoy your workout inside, unless you're Andy in the garden, and then you can go and enjoy the sunshine later on. So I'm Jenny, so welcome to Pilates, hope that's what you've come for. We're going to do about a 40-something minute class. We're going to just try and just do similar things last week with a few different moves as well. We'll try and do some stuff on our side and our front as well, hopefully, depending on how we go for time. Just as always, this is aimed at people that have got a little bit of knowledge of Pilates or have got some experience of what it is. It will be easier if you know a little bit what you're doing, but don't panic if that's not the case. But I would advise you just to try and take the exercises at your own pace, as always, and if anything doesn't feel right or any move is not appropriate for you, then please don't do it. Just skip it out and just join back in with the next thing you can do. If in any doubt, please don't do the exercise or modify the move as you need to. Okay, enough preamble and warning given. Let's get started. So, hopefully you've got a mat or at least just a softer bit of carpet or a rug underneath you, and we're going to put ourselves in good posture to begin. So take your feet roughly hip width apart and try and encourage your knees and hips and shoulders to all be in line. So your kind of second toe, your knee and your hip bones are in line, and then rising up to your shoulders, and then think long through your neck. Try not to lift your chin, but try and have your eye gaze straight forward so that your neck is just in its natural extension of your spine. Just make sure your weight is spread through the balls and heels of your feet and your knees are slightly soft. Adjust your pelvis into neutral, so this should be pretty familiar to most of you by now. So try and find that position with your hip bones facing forwards and that tailbone pointing straight down. Then just take a moment or two to take a few slow and wide and deep breaths. So as you breathe in, feel your ribs open and expand wide and to the side, and then slow and steady exhalation. Go again. Take a breath in and release and let go. Keep your knees soft and keep your posture tall and strong. Relax. If you haven't automatically done this, switch on those corset muscles or those core muscles. So take that imaginary belt around your center and tighten that to about 30%. So 0 is just letting everything go. 100% is squeezed in so that you can't even breathe. We're looking for about 3 out of 10 or about 30% gentle tension around your center. Gently squeeze that belly button towards your back and maintain that lift and length through your body and your posture tall and strong. Again, just take a couple more breaths here and re-engage your abdominals. So gently draw that tummy button in and lift on your pelvic floor at the same time if you can as well. Then roll onto the balls of your feet and lift up and hold. Squeeze your tummy in, hold that balance and slowly back down. Go again, lift and hold, rise, squeeze that tummy and release. Let's shrug the shoulders this time. So lift up and let go. And again, lift up and let go. Back to our feet, but lift the arms up as well this time. So lift up and hold. Maintain that balance, arms reaching forwards, abdominals drawn in, tummy button squeezed in, and back you go. We'll do 2 of these. So second one, lift up. Hold that balance, arms reaching forwards, fronts of your feet lifted, and back down. We're going to roll the shoulders round this time. So bigger movement through your shoulders. We'll do one more backwards, now change direction. So come forwards and just easy release off through your shoulders. Good. Back to our lower body. This time we're going to move the arms. So come up and hold. Now we're going to move them to the side. So open out wide, hold that balance, come back to the center and slowly down. We'll do the same thing again. So lift up and hold, squeeze your belly button in, open your arms out wide, stay as balanced as you can, slowly back in and down. Okay, going to go back to our arms again, but we're going to then drop our neck as well. So shrug your shoulders up and release. Now drop your chin towards your chest and look up. Go again, shrug your shoulders up and release. Now turn and look over your shoulder. So turn one way, doesn't matter which. And then go round to the other side. So look over the opposite shoulder and come back through. Okay, couple of bounces. We've done these ones before. So onto one leg, again, doesn't matter which side, and lift the knee and the opposite hand. Hold that balance. So challenge yourself to stay a little bit longer than we have done in previous weeks. Stay as steady as you can. Squeeze that tummy in, shoulders stay down, fix your gaze on a point in front of you and hold. Down you come. Well, that's my good side. This is going to be more wobbly. So, other side. Soften that standing leg and lift and hold. Squeeze that tummy in, keep those shoulders down, hold that balance. Again, we're going to challenge ourselves to stay a little bit longer. I've got to concentrate a bit harder here. And down you come. We'll do the same thing again on that first side. So back to that first one we did, and then lift up, hips nice and steady, lift that knee and the opposite arm. Okay, now let's point that floating leg forwards and lift that knee back up. So extend that leg in front and lift that knee again. We try two more. So reach and point ahead of you and then lift the knee back up. Go again and lift back up. I hope you're concentrating as hard as I am when you do that. Okay, we'll do the same on the other side. So hold that balance, stand nice and tall, shoulders down, and then lift. Oh, this is my wobbly side. This could be tricky. So reach and come back up. I've got to concentrate really hard to know how you guys are doing. Lift up. We're going to do two more. I'm going to try it to fall over. Lift up. One more time. Good. Okay, I can talk again now. Okay, so back to feet hip width apart, and we're going to squat and lift our arms up. So as you sit into your squat, encourage your knees to travel and track over your second toes roughly. So super little squat to begin, just nice and easy, down and back up. So gently bend the knees, push your bottom back slowly, and then stand up nice and controlled. Let's gradually sit a little bit deeper. So starting to move a little bit more into that squat position, sending your hips and bottom back. Try and keep that chest open and the shoulders down. We're going to try a few more. Just gradually sitting as low as feels a little bit of a challenge to you without going too deep into that movement. Oh, let's just do one more because we can. Final one. And up you come. Good stuff. We'll kind of come into some roll downs. Now, if you've got any issues with your back, then you should be careful of these or your bones. So this is contraindicated to a couple of things. So please just be mindful if this is not appropriate for you. So drop your chin towards your chest. Hands come to your knees or just below your knees. And then roll and lift back up. Open your shoulders at the top. Go again. So soften your knees slightly. Roll forwards, hands just to your knees. And then lift up. We're going to do that one more time. Hands just to your knees or just slightly below your kneecaps. And then lift up. Stay with that if that level is most sensible for you. Those that can go a little bit further, then let's go a little bit lower down this time. So drop your chin towards your chest. Roll yourself down and lift back up nice and slow. Ooh, hello hamstrings. Take a breath at the top. Let's do that again. So drop your chin towards your chest. Soften your knees, let your head and neck relax and release. Let the backs of your hands come down towards the floor, let your head go, and then slowly come back up. So I'm lifting my head a little bit more than I ought to, just so that you can hear what I'm saying. So remember to bring your head up last. So chin towards chest, knees are soft. Slowly down, backs of your hands come towards the floor, let the top of your head come down, and then roll and lift yourself back up to standing. We're going to do one last one of those. Walk towards the back of your mat before we do this final one. So take a breath at the top, drop your chin, roll down nice and slowly, and then slowly stack yourself back up and release. Okay, come down onto the floor, onto your hands and knees. So just come down nice and steady, and then walk your hands forwards into your all fours position on your mat. So just in the centre of your mat, hands underneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips, so your thighs are roughly vertical. Hold in that all fours position just for a moment, then think long through the back of your neck. Squeeze your belly button in towards your back. We've done this one last week or so. Tuck those toes under, squeeze that belly button in towards your spine, and hover both knees above the ground. Stay in that floating and lifted position. Try and have a fairly even pressure through both hands and both feet, and then come back down. Give each wrist a little shake off, and we're going to do that again. So long and strong through your back. Try and release between your shoulder blades. Squeeze your belly button in towards your back, and then hover the knees above the ground and stay there. So hold that position. Good. So just try and keep the knees just a touch above the ground. Back is long and straight. Hips are steady. Shoulders are stable. Hold there and come down. Feet together, knees apart, and sit back in child's pose. Just take a stretch for a moment, and I'll just talk you through what we're going to do next. We're going to come into a couple of different prone bridge positions, on our elbows and then up on our hands. So what I want you to do is come forwards onto your elbows and forearms, and your hands just a few inches apart. Shift your knees back, and we're going to hold a plank or a prone bridge on our elbows and forearms. Now those that are feeling strong enough, we're going to try and lift up onto our toes and the balls of our feet. So tuck your toes underneath. Now think hip up on the backs of your knees. So I want to push up from here to bring me into that prone bridge position on my feet. Can't see whether I'm straight or not, so hopefully I am fairly good. Hold there and back down and sit back. We're going to do that again. So again, we're going to do it on our forearms and then lift up off our knees. So come forwards again. So on your elbows, hands forwards, squeeze that belly button in towards your back, tuck your toes under, and then straighten out through the legs. Try and lift up and hold. Your head is also in neutral, so your eyes are looking slightly ahead of your fingertips, and try and not tuck your chin in or lift your head up. Bring it back and down into neutral. Squeeze that belly button up and in towards your spine, and then come down. You can relax for a moment. We're going to do the same thing up on our hands. So just take a rest for a moment while I talk you through and show you what we're going to do. Hands a little wider than your shoulders, and spread your fingers so your hands are open. Knees are back and just about hip width apart, and then shift your shoulders forward so they're above your hands, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift up onto our feet, and then we are going to come back down onto our knees. So if you can come forwards and join me now. Hands out in front, hands are beneath those shoulders, knees are slightly back from your hips, and hold that prone bridge on your hands and on your knees. Now those that feel able and want to try, tuck those toes under. Again, hit up on the backs of the knees and rise and lift up into that full prone bridge or plank type position. Squeeze your tummy button in towards your back. Keep your neck in neutral, so you're probably looking towards the top of your mat, and come back to your knees and stretch back. We're going to do that one more time. So give your wrists a little bit of a reprieve, and then we're going to come forwards again. Hands underneath your shoulders, shift everything forwards. Check your alignment, tuck your toes under, squeeze that tummy in towards your back, and lift and lengthen through the legs. Hold that prone bridge, squeeze that tummy in towards your back, and hold that position. Just try and stay as strong and steady as you can. If you need to come back down to your knees, then that's absolutely fine. Those that are able to stay up here, keep squeezing that tummy button in towards your back. And then everyone come to their knees, and everyone sit back in child's pose. So your feet can be together, but your knees should be apart before you stretch and reach forwards. Okay, we're going to push through and back down onto our front. So I want you to lie face down. Sorry, Sheila. She knows what I mean. Okay, we're going to come into what we call dart. We've done a little bit of work before with our hands up and above us. We're going to come into what we call a dart position. Down here now. So your legs are extended behind you. Your arms are going to run down the sides of your body. We're going to start with them relaxed on the floor, but we are going to lift the upper body and raise the arms as well. So I'll show you one and then we'll join in together. So from here, turn your head so it's facing down, and then extend your fingertips towards your toes and lift your head and chest. Keep the arms lifted, keep your nose pointing down towards the mat, and then come back down. We're going to do a few of these, so join me if you can. So face down. You can put a pillow underneath your forehead if you don't particularly like squishing your nose. So take a breath, draw your belly button in towards your back, and as you breathe out, lift. Keep extending the fingertips. Continue now to breathe, don't hold your breath, and then relax back down. Go again. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, lift. Keep trying to squeeze your tummy button up and in as best you can, and your eyes stay looking down towards your mat. Your arms are lifted and extended back towards your feet, and release. We're going to do two more. Take a breath. As you breathe out, rise and lift. Arms are extended, chest and shoulders are lifted. Lots of work through your back, and come back down. We've got one more to go. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, rise and lift. Keep those arms extended. Keep the shoulders up and open, and then relax. Okay, bring your hands in front and make a rest for your forehead. We're going to lift the legs only this time, so your arms are just going to stay in front just to support your forehead. You're going to lengthen through your legs, and you're going to lift from your hips and come back down. Now, a good thing to think about for this one is to try and think about lifting your thigh away from the floor. Now, it probably won't lift very far, if at all, which is fine. But just have a go, because what I want you to avoid doing is just bending your knees and lifting your feet. I want you to lift and try and get this bit of your leg at least to think about coming away from the floor. So take a breath. As you breathe out, think long through the legs, and then lift up and hold. Slowly back down. Sorry, keep your head down. I'm just lifting my head so that you can hear, basically. So extend your legs, leave your head on the floor, lift both legs up together. Again, lots of work through your back here, and your glutes are helping out as well, and back down. We're going to do one more. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lift and hold. Both legs come up together. Keep the legs long and straight, try not to bend the knees. And slowly back down. Right. You've got to do both together. So we're going to bring the arms back round by our side. We're going to extend the arms and try and lift the legs at the same time. So we're going to come into this full dart position with the legs extended behind us and back down. You ready? Have a go. If this is not suitable for you, just continue, just lift upper and lower body independently and not together. So, squeeze that tummy button in towards your back. So lift your navel towards your spine and then reach the fingertips long, lift up and hold, and slowly back down. Same again, squeeze your tummy in, reach the arms long, lift and hold, and slowly back down. Final one, squeeze that tummy in, reach the arms long, lift and hold a little bit longer this time. Stay here, legs are extended, arms are extended, breathe, and back you come. Okay, you're going to roll over onto your side. So just shimmy yourself around, have your arm extended out in front, and then have your head rested on your outstretched arm, and then just recheck your position. So I would like your ankles, your knees, and your hips and your shoulders all to roughly be in line. I don't want you to have your legs forwards or your legs too far behind of you. Try and have everything in line. You should be able to see your toes. So hand down in front, then think about trying to be lifted from your side. So imagine someone's got hold of your top or your t-shirt from your side here and lifting your waist away from the ground. Again, it probably won't lift, really. Just have a go and continue to squeeze your tummy button in towards your back. So lift here, hand down in front, top shoulder is relaxed, and then lift that top leg up and down. So this is pretty familiar exercise to many of you, I'm sure, just a single leg lift. So lots of work in your hip and that top leg's coming up and down. Now those of you that are quite balanced and steady in this position, you can have your hand on your thigh or up in the air, or you can slightly lift that lower leg so I can float the foot and knee off the floor on that bottom leg rather than leaving it on the ground. But everyone should be getting a little bit achy around here just now. Yeah? Or just me? Okay, rest there. Right, scissors. So we're going to slide back and forth with our legs, moving from the hip. So again, don't be tempted to just wiggle your feet. Try and move from your hip so your whole leg is going back and forth. So I'll show you for one and then we can join in together. So lift up, feet a little bit apart, and then we're going to scissor or swim with the legs back and forth. Okay, so take a breath, lift that waist, squeeze that tummy in, length through the legs, lift, and then swim or little scissor type movement back and forth. And again, it should be kind of achy here, and you can have your hand up if you wish, or leave your hand down if you want to help you balance. Last couple, and then rest. We'll do that again. Not for long, I promise. Take a breath, squeeze that tummy in, length through the legs, lift, and then swim, or that little short scissoring movement back and forth. If you find it sore on your head, you can lift it up, or place a towel or pillow underneath your ear if that feels a little bit more comfortable on your head and neck. Last few seconds, and then rest. Right, okay, trickier one. Bring that leg up and over in front, and you're going to lift the underside leg. So you can put this leg wherever kind of feels comfy. So depending on your flexibility, you can have the foot down or the knee down or something in between. But I want you to try and lift the bottom leg up and down. So lots of work on the inside of your thigh as you lift and as you lower. Bit trickier? We got it? We're not going to do many, don't panic. So if you're looking at me going, I don't think that's possible. We're not going to do many. We're going to do 2 more. Keep that leg straight. We're good. Right. You can turn round or roll over, whichever works for you. I'm going to not particularly gracefully try and move around to the other side. So we're going to do the same couple of exercises on this side. So just take a moment or two to line yourself up over here. So just check that your feet, knees, hips, shoulders are all roughly in line, and just reposition your legs or your feet if you need to, just to make sure you're in a good position. So check your lower body position, hand down in front, top shoulder away from your ear. The temptation is to hold yourself up here. So bring that shoulder down and then place the hand in front. That's important to keep this openness across your upper body. Okay, we good? Lift that waist, squeeze that tummy in, and we're going to start with those single leg lifts. So holding and supporting through your core, lift and lower that top leg up and down. So just nice and steady and balanced, coming up and down with that top leg. Keep that waist lifted and that tummy drawn in, and try and stay as balanced as you can. Those folks that did the progression on the other side, you can lift the hand or you can lift your lower leg as well. That's a good on this side, aren't I? And if you find that you're too wobbly, just put your hand or foot back down. So if you can float the foot and the hand, then that's absolutely fine. If you need to put one of them back down, then that's fine as well. Last one. We good? Filling it here? We're fine? Okay, we're going to do those kind of swimming legs or scissor movement with the legs, whichever you want to call it. So lift up and then we're going to swim. Scissors is really a slightly bigger movement, but it's the same type of movement. We're just moving back and forth, nice and steady. Keep the legs going. Good, good, good. Keep that tummy squeezed in. Keep the legs moving. How's your balance? Mine's not so good on this side. Keep going. Last few repetitions. And rest. I think we did this twice on the other side, so I'm really sorry. We're going to have to do it twice again. So, take a breath. Lift your waist. Squeeze your tummy in. And then swim. Or move those legs back and forth. Keep going. Good. And rest. Right. Up and over with that top leg. And that bottom leg's going to lift up and down. So, you might have a greater or lesser range of movement on this side. So if this leg's not moving much, that's fine. It's a little bit more challenging movement, so you're working some of these muscles on the inside of our thighs. But it's a little bit trickier, slightly more awkward to lift in this position. We're only going to do a few more. So last two, and so make that next one your last one. Brilliant. Okay, just bring your knees up in front, and that's going to allow us then to smoothly, hopefully, roll around onto our back. So take your time, rejig and position yourself on your mat. So you can be lying in supine or on your back. So what we're going to do next is do a series of things on our back. So do a little bit of work standing, a little bit of work on our front and our side. We're going to come in and do a little bit of work on our backs now. So before we do that, let's just check the position of our legs and our hips. So your feet are roughly hip width apart and equidistant from your tailbone. And then relax your shoulders and open your shoulders and arms by your side. Now, let's make sure our pelvis and hips are in neutral. So you've got those two extremes, remember, imprinting your spine or pushing your back down, and then pushing your hips forwards and arching and lifting your back up. So imprinted spine and arched back are your two extremes, and somewhere in between those two is neutral, and it'll be a little bit different position for everyone. So just you have a think about where you need to be. Most of you have done this before now. So your hip bones are facing up towards the ceiling, and your tailbone is down, and your tummy button is drawn in. So hold that position through your back and your pelvis, and we're going to do those basic heel slides. So I've done these loads of times before now, really classic and basic Pilates move, trying to keep your hips and back nice and steady, trying to hold that neutral position. This is the really important bit, through your back and spine as you move those legs back and forth and in and out. So extend and come back in. I'm just going to do a few of these. Good. If it helps, you can take a breath in before you move and breathe out as you extend that leg, but you can see what works best for you with the breath. If you can just breathe normally and keep moving, that's fine as well. Okay, make it a little bit harder. So the progression is to flow back and forth with the legs. So it looks a little bit like this, keeping your back in that neutral position, sliding the heels in and out. Your modification would be to continue with one leg at a time. So when you're ready, take a breath and begin. Hips in neutral, tailbone anchored, and then you're going to slide one leg in and then the other leg out. You can do this by leaving one foot down, remember, or if you're feeling a little bit stronger, you can do as I'm doing and move back and forth. Now you can make this harder by going slower. So I'm going to try and go a little bit more slowly as I extend and as I switch to the other side. So slow it down, but try and make it smooth as you slow it down. It's easier said than done. So take your time, stretch out and back in. Final one. And rest there. Okay, we're going to extend both legs out straight now. So push one leg away and then the other. And you should still now have your hip bones facing the roof and your tailbone should be on the ground. Again, take a couple of breaths, tighten that belt, keep your back in that neutral position, hold that strong position through your hips and pelvis, and just lift and lower one leg at a time. So once you know what to do, then you can just join in, trying to keep the hips nice and level. So sometimes I like to put my hands here and my first two fingers on my hip bones, just makes me more aware that I'm not rocking back and forth, but you can just leave your hands by your side, whatever feels most comfortable. And again, you can breathe in before you move and breathe out as you lift, or as you get more experienced, you can just breathe normally and maintain that effort and tension around your center. So in Pilates, the default breath is to breathe out on the work because it helps you engage your core, but do whatever feels right for you. Last one, and rest there. Okay, this time we're going to extend the leg and we're going to circle it round. So same initial movement, so you're going to lift and then you're going to circle that leg round. We're going to do a few one way and then a few the other, and I'll cue you as we go. So starting on your right leg, if you can, if that's the side that works for you, take a breath, squeeze that tummy in and then lift and circle that leg round. Now, try and minimize the rock left to right of your hips. So try not to wobble left and right too much. Okay, now, change direction and go the other way with the circle. The circles are small. Imagine you're using your big toe just to point at paint a little circle on the imaginary wall in front of you. Last couple, and rest. How's your quad? Tired? Just mine? Okay, there's a few muscles working in this one. We're going to do the same on the left leg, or the other side if you didn't do that side to begin with. So take a breath, keep your back engaged and lift, and round you go. So back is nice and steady, abdominals are holding you strong. You're holding that neutral position as you circle and move that leg round. Keep going. And then now change direction. So do the same movement. Try and minimize the rock side to side. Not so coordinated on this side apparently. Last couple. And then rest. Bend your knees and bring yourself back into that set-up position with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. Now, tuck your chin in towards your chest and run your hands at the front of your thighs. Aim your fingertips towards your knees and then slowly back down. Repeat that roll up. So tuck your chin in, roll and lift up, and then slowly back down. We're going to do a few more of those. So roll in and back down. Last couple, lift up and back down. Okay, this time we're going to have our hands by our side of our body because we're going to lift our head and chest up, and then we're going to take one hand and reach towards the outside of the calf or just above the ankle and back to the middle, and then to the other side and back to the middle. So we're going to stay in this lifted position with our top of our back off the ground and our head lifted, and we're going to reach to one side, then the other, slowly. So do this together. When you're ready, let's go. Tuck your chin in slightly, lift up and hold, arms extended by your side. Now reach to one side and pause in the center. Reach to the other side and back to the center. So reach your fingertips, kind of past the outside of your leg and back to the middle. One side and then the other. First side and then back. Last couple. So final one each side now. And back in. And relax back down. Hug your knees in towards your chest and just give your back a little roll round and about. And just release off through your back, just a touch. Okay, we are going to come up into tabletop for the next few exercises. So put yourself back into that neutral position, hip bones facing up towards the ceiling, tailbone on the ground. So make sure you're in neutral before we lift one leg at a time into tabletop. So hips steady, tailbone down. Now lift one leg and then the other into tabletop. So knees are above your hips. We're going to do a single leg stretch and back in just for a few warm-up exercises in tabletop. So out and back in. Keep that tailbone anchored, keep the back nice and steady, and reach away and come back. Continue with that. I'm going to show you the modification. So your modification is to leave one foot down and do the same thing from this position. So you can do it from the foot down if you don't want to be up in tabletop. So reach out and back in. Last couple. So final one now. And back in. Put your feet down, have a rest. I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So we're going to do 3 different leg extensions on one side before we then swap the other. So we're going to do a vertical stretch. Use your imagination for my vertical leg. Stretch out about 45 degrees, and then your third movement is going to be a bit lower. Now watch your back in that final one, that your back doesn't lift up. So I'll show you again before we all join in together. So reach up, and then out about 45 degrees, and then a little bit lower. So it doesn't need to be super low. You can decide how low that third extension is to make it challenging for you. Lower is higher. Okay, so in neutral before you move, then
Squeeze that tummy in, support your back, one leg and then the other into tabletop. Knees are roughly above your hips, and in your own time start your 1, slowly 2, and then 3 on one side, and then swap. So start with a vertical, tenuous vertical, Jenny, and then out, and then again, so stretch and back in. Try and keep your back nice and steady as you do that, so work at your own pace. Try and do those 3 movements at your own speed and just try and control that. So up and then out and then out again. And now keep going, but relax your shoulders, so bring your shoulders away from your ears, because they're almost certainly have gained in tension as you've been thinking about moving your legs. So maintain that openness across your chest and maintain that strength and stability through your hips and pelvis. Last few, guys. So reach up, reach away and reach out, and make the next one on this side your final set. So final one up, next one out, and then last extension away. Just finish the sequence and set you're on, and then bring your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a little hug. We're going to do a little bit of work in shoulder bridge to finish up for the last couple of minutes. So feet back on the floor, knees just comfortably bent, feet the same distance roughly away from your body, and then start with your arms rested by your side. Gently push into your feet. Think about being lifted up from your belly button and roll and lift yourself up off the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time, or as close to that as you can manage. And then just reverse that movement to bring you back down to the mat. So gently push into those feet, lift yourself up from your core, roll your lower back up off the mat, lift up towards your shoulders, and then smoothly and slowly place each vertebrae down. Focus on this first initial movement. Tilt your pelvis and lift your tailbone off first. Then lift up with your hips. Hold at the top just for a moment or so, and then slowly back down. If you just do 2 more of those for me, take your time, roll and lift up. Hold in that top position just for a moment, and then smoothly and slowly roll back down. Make the next one your last one. So try and come back down as evenly as you can. So I know I'm a little bit stronger on one side than the other, so I've got to work quite hard to come back down in an even way. Now, take a full body stretch, so reach your legs out long and then extend both arms overhead and feel the stretch from your fingertips to your toes. And bring your arms in and both legs in. We're just going to twist to the side, so bring your feet and knees together and stretch over to one side. Just let your knees travel over as far as feels comfortable, and then carefully go back through the center and control your knees over to the other side. And then carefully come back up to the middle. Hug your knees in one last time, and then we'll stand up and balance to finish off as we normally do. So take your time to roll over onto one side and bring yourself back round via your hands and knees. So we've been down on the floor a little while, so take your time as you come back up to standing and bring your head back up. Nice and slowly. We always do these. We're getting better at these, right? So feet back, hip width apart, knees soft, hips in line with your feet and your knees and your shoulders,
And let's rise up onto our toes and hold that balance. Good. And down you come. Take a breath, lift and hold. Slowly and controlled back down. This is your final one. Lift up, reach and hold. Good. Down you come. Perfect. Okay, folks, hope you are now set up for the rest of your Thursday. Or it might not be Thursday. You might be redoing this another time. It's going to be a soggy weekend. This could be a good 45 minutes to spend on a wet and windy Saturday afternoon. Guys, hope you are well. See you soon. Bye-bye.